see you twerk. I throw a little money to twerk. I don't really think
the fade is back. My computer was real. It was super real. My computer was down for the count for a little bit, but it's back in action. And
I didn't get to the touch your booty part.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We just started from like the middle.
Okay, all right.
And just overlap.
All right. Cool. That works. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Episode 3.
Yep.
This is crazy.
So I got fat.
You said you got fat?
No, so I got fat. It means what's up in crowd.
I was like, damn, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. You gotta bring some Haitian culture to this, right?
Is that Saga Fête?
Saga Fête.
Saga Fête.
So ça passe, Saga Fête.
Naboulé.
Hey. I'm Haitian now. We have 2 really special guests with us today. We have Jules and Wendell. You guys introduce yourselves.
Ladies first.
Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Jules and I'm originally from New York City and I'm the founder and content creator at Travel Jules, which is a travel and lifestyle blog dedicated to helping...
We're going to put it in the... Sorry, Jules. Go ahead.
Y'all, Jules is freaking out because this is her first podcast.
Yes, my first time. Okay, they're going to put it, but it's a travel and lifestyle blog.
Awesome. And Wendell?
Welcome, everybody. No, I'm joking. So, hi, everyone. My name is Wendell, and I'm born and raised in Boston. And pretty much, as far as what I do, so I'm a co-founder of Love It or Like It, and we are an event and marketing company based out of technically North Carolina because that's where it's registered. But for the most part, yes. Welcome. Hi.
That's facts. So today we're going to be talking, the episode title is Traveling While Black. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking about the Black travel experience, essentially. So let's toast real quick. We're drinking tea, lemongrass tea.
Yes, from Bali.
Yes.
Jewel brought it for us. We feel so special. Yes. So toast to traveling.
I should have did a boomerang.
Yeah. Vicky. Intern. We have an intern, guys.
Upgrades.
All right, we're gonna
leveled up today.
We did level up today. We're gonna focus. I promise. Toast to Black travel.
Yeah.
Wendell, why was it important for you to do? So you're doing the Boston Invades North Carolina tour.
Yes.
So what's that about, and why was it important for you to bring it here?
All right. So pretty much, the name of the tour is called Lit Invasion Tour. Mm-hmm. Boston Invades NC, and basically Lit stands for Love It or Like It. It's just short. So we just created an acronym, and everybody knows, we're always lit. So it just kind of fell into place. So the purpose behind the tour essentially is we're looking to get a group of millennials from Boston to come down to experience, different city. Mm-hmm. And basically the purpose behind that would have been, we always hear, I'm from this place, but I never leave where I'm from, or I never get to see another place, or, they're just not used to being outside their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So because I'm originally from Boston, I felt like it's not really a gray line, but the best opportunity would have came from bringing people from my city down to the city that I'm currently staying. Yeah. And giving them that opportunity to explore, network, and we have tons of things put together, for them that entire weekend. We have a whole itinerary planned out from Friday to Sunday for them. And they get to network and meet other people, and the North Carolinians can do the same thing. They can meet and talk to Bostonians and build that network up there as well. That's correct.
One thing I liked about that idea is like, because you'll plan like trips with like groups, and it's like, in school it's like a field trip. We're going to the museum, then we eat lunch and go. But it's like something for millennials, like we're gonna hang out, like go out, eat brunch, and still find out like historical stuff about like Durham and Raleigh and like the area. So it's still educational, but it's still fun and relevant and not boring as hell. So I'm excited.
So do you want to are you sticking with just Boston to North Carolina? What are your goals in the future?
No, so actually we're looking to invade a different city every 6 months.
Oh,
so that's our plan. So this is, yes. So that's why it's the Lit Invasion Tour. Because every 6 months we're looking to take over a different city. So the next city we're actually targeting right now is DC. Okay. So it's going to be a collab, so it's gonna be Boston, NC collab to take over DC. So so pretty much every 6 months, you know, each city is gonna group up together and they're gonna go take over another city. So as we're going from city to city, we're building a crowd, we're building a follow, building a base. Where basically it becomes kind of traditional. So where eventually we're gonna end up taking it overseas as well, which is kind of like our 3-year plan. So the next 3 years, you know, we're probably looking to do like France or somewhere exotic, Dubai or something like that. You know, so just because we know as millennials we keep growing, we get a little bit more money, so we can travel a little bit more, and then you know, with the sponsors and things that we end up getting, hopefully we'll be able to put a little bit more money into, you know, giving more discounts so people can afford it versus, you know, having to come out and, you know, buy a package. But essentially we researched all that stuff for them too, so they have like a full package that we put together, which is inclusive pricing, hotel, flight, and the whole party package for the whole weekend. So
Oh, so one ticket takes you everywhere.
Pretty much.
Oh, lit.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So both of you guys are, so Julie, you're originally from New York, but you travel a ton. And you've lived in other places, like when you studied abroad, and same for you, Wendell, you've been abroad. But what is like the most impactful trip you've ever taken?
So definitely South Africa, in Durban, South Africa, because it was the first place, my first international country. At first I was, you know, hesitant, but I'm like, no, I have to do it. Just like you mentioned, stepping outside your comfort zone. I'm like, okay, I need to do it. There's so much growth out when you step across that line. So, you know, I'm the first in my family to go to college and to go out the country as well. So it was a big deal for me. And there was a lot of nervousness. And then also South Africa, it didn't help that a lot of people were like, don't go there. You're going to get crazy. Don't go there. You're not going to come back. Like a lion's going to eat you. And I'm like, first of all, like lions are not just running around
in the streets.
So it was just so much education I had to do for people back home. But nonetheless, like I still won. I'm like, no, I have to do this. I have to go. And it was so transformative. So it was half homestay experience. We lived in the township and then like half independent study. And I became really close with my homestay family. And I did things like, so I'm from Harlem. I'm like, prior to going to Durban, I never did outdoorsy things like hike a mountain. And so like literally the first 3 days I'm in Durban, like we're hiking. Well, we started actually in Joburg. So we hiked the Drakensberg mountain. And I was like, wow, like this is beautiful. I feel so close to God. And I was just like, but you know, I would have never, like, and I'm in New York, like, no, I'm not going hiking. Like, you know, but now, like, it really shifted my whole, like, to me, nature is such a spiritual experience now. And it all came back to that one moment on the mountaintop in Joburg where I'm like, wow, like, this is life. Like, you know, I'm not, where I'm from, like, people don't do this. And
you don't get to see
so,
it.
so it was just so beautiful. And now every time I go somewhere, I try to do a hike because it really is, like, a spiritual experience for me. But just the people, too, you know. In America, you're Black before you're American. But when I went there, it's like all of a sudden I'm American before I'm Black. And it's like, what? Like, I'm so confused right now. I've never experienced this before. And I was the only one of two Black women in the program. So even in the township, for them to see Black Americans, they were really excited. Like my friend, her homestay sister was like, I heard there's a Black American. Can I meet her? And that representation is so important. And it was just so beautiful just to see that. Like how people are just really excited and stuff. But then there was also like a lot of education to do because what they know about Black Americans is like hip-hop videos.
Exactly. It's what the media gives them.
So that was also like, okay, actually, we have to correct a few things, you know, because we're not all like video girls twerking in the pop. Like,
so we don't all have those assets.
So South Africa is like really close to my heart, and I went back when during grad school I completed my summer internship in Cape Town this time, and that was like another unique experience.
That sounds awesome.
You want to go to South Africa now?
Oh, you should. Everybody needs to go to South Africa. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of the countries on my to-go list. I've always wanted to go to South Africa because I've only ever been to Uganda, the airport in Kenya, airport in Germany, and then here. So like I definitely like traveling is huge on my list this year. So I'm excited.
Yeah. What about you, Wendell?
What was your question again?
What's the most impactful trip you've ever taken?
Most impactful trip. So I would say I was part of the travel club at my high school. And
in high school, they had a travel club?
That's so dope.
Yeah. I had adventure education. We just shot bows. So pretty much that group was probably the most impactful group for me during high school. And our first trip was actually to St. Croix, which is a U.S. Virgin Island. And basically the reason why that was a very impactful trip was because of the first trip outside of, Boston, other than New York and all the other nearby places I could drive to, that I've actually taken outside. So, we flew into Puerto Rico and transitioned. They put us on a small plane. They flew us into St. Croix. But we went there to do volunteer work. So, we went there to the St. Mary's camp, which is a small camp, which is on Christiansted side, because they're basically split in two. So it's Frederiksted and Christiansted. One's highly religious and a lot of money, and then the other one's like with all the Rastas. And, I guess Frederiksted is the Rastas?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, we got there, and just getting off the plane was amazing, and they drive on the other side of the road. So it was the first time I ever was somewhere where cars were on the other side versus, and I'm just like, what the hell? Is this normal? Like, do you guys not get confused?
Yeah.
So, I guess to answer your question, what made it really impactful was being outside of Boston, taking a trip somewhere that I'd never been before, that's not familiar, and then also being able to impact these kids that we're working with. And I would say the kids were, I never met so many bright, little kids. Like they were very intelligent, very relatable, and they also impacted my life, especially because I've had, all these little kids that were just looking up to me, and they didn't know me from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
All they knew was that we're coming here, we're here to support them, and help them and coach them, and it was just really impactful in regards to the impact that we did with them. And coming back, it was just wow.
Yeah.
And then when I was leaving the airport, one of the little kids that he's probably like the most dearest kid to me.
Yeah.
Only because. Not because the other kids weren't, but
no, there's always one.
It was because we related so much, and from a personal experience, So I had lost my mother when I was young.
Yeah.
And they had us go up and they talk, hey, go ahead and talk about yourself and what you've been through, and because these are all kids that are of color, so. I explained to them, and this one little kid, he pulled me aside after, and he was just he's like, I just lost my mom, and he was just like, I felt like I don't know, who else to talk to, and I don't know anybody who's been through it, and he was just like, I want to be just like you, and he was just like it was just the most, it was the most, it just stuck to me for life, and then. He was just so attached to me from that moment. And, when I was getting ready to leave, he was at the airport with his aunt. Because his aunt and his aunt had adopted him and his sister. Yeah. So, I'm waiting for my plane, and he's running, and they're like, who's this little kid running? And then he grabs from behind me. I'm like, look, and it was just him. And I'm just oh my gosh.
That's intense.
And then he told, and then his auntie came. She was like, you went down? I'm like, yeah. And then she was like, he's been telling me everything about you. I'm like, Jesus. So that trip was the most memorable trip.
Heck yeah, it's memorable for me. I didn't even take it.
Seriously. And that just goes to show how important it is to have representation and just like outside of where we are now, because we can get caught up in just kind of day-to-day lives. But when we step outside, and especially when we travel internationally, you see a lot of people that have less than, and you see that they're really happy. Even if you're just there, just your presence there is really important to them. So yeah, we want to encourage everybody to try to like travel like internationally. It'll just like open up your eyes and your mind to like a different world that's really kind of simple. Yeah.
And it makes you appreciate life in a whole different degree, because, you know, sometimes when you're kind of going through your own thing in life, like, you always think, like, hey, I'm just probably the only one going through this. Like, no one else is going through it. And then when you get somewhere else and you're just, like, looking at how people are living, like, their environment, like, and you realize, like, how grateful you are. And you should appreciate what you already have, because not a lot of people already have it. And so, you know, it's really important, you know, when you travel to actually see that, because you know, if you're just stuck in your own environment, you're always going to think, like, oh, my friends, we're going through the same thing. Like, this is, like, life, which is way more to life than just your
personal experiences.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it also opens up your eyes to humanity. I feel like there's a lot of this in terms of like everything that's happening in the world. There's a lot of like fear, like propaganda. And it's a lot of divisive, like, discussion, you know, things to make us feel like, oh, they're the others.
And we're not connected.
Yeah, we're not connected.
Right.
But when you travel, you realize, like, none of that is true. Like, we have, like, something, you know, something that we can all relate to. Like, we're all human. And not to say everyone is the same, and I do understand there's a lot happening.
There's outliers.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of them, but most of us are in the middle.
Yeah, like, people really do look after you, like, when you're abroad. Like, I just met so many phenomenal people that I would have never met. Like, people that I'm going to invite to my wedding from, like, my travels. Like, and it's just remarkable to see. Like, I had like a bad like ATV accident in Thailand. So
like bad how like
I like turned wrong and then it fell and it had like a puncture wound.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I didn't go to the hospital because I'm like, I'm gonna clean it up, be on bed rest, I'll be fine. Yeah. But on the way back to London, my like leg swelled and it was really bad. So I went to urgent care there, but on the way, like, just when I was on in the tube, everybody was just, because I was crying, and I was with my friends, but people were just coming up to me, like, telling me where to go, telling me where the pharmacist is. Yeah. And it was just amazing. It's like, no one knows me, but everyone just saw that I was in pain, and, like, literally so many people came to me. So that was just beautiful. I wasn't expecting that in London.
I think it's, because, like, for us, almost, like, for, like, being in the U.S. is also our foreign, like, experience. And even though we've been here long enough to call it home, it's still like not. And so like vice versa, you learn all like when we're in Africa or wherever else, you always see the US as like the beacon. And so you come here and you learn all the intricacies and the different types of people, and you're able to take those things back also to, you know, where you're from and your home, like, especially dealing with Blackness and like how as Africans or African countries see Blackness. Like whenever I was home and Trump, it was like during election season, and they were like, oh, he's not going to get elected. You know, that's not how things really are there. And so I literally had to have a conversation with my family about microaggressions and like systematic oppression and racism. And they're all sitting there like mind blown.
They're
like, what?
No, it's like when whenever 13 came out and my dad was visiting, and like he like made it like some comment. I was like, oh God. But because we have those stereotypes of like African Americans, so I made him watch 13th, and he was like, oh, like I didn't. I was like, yeah, it's like it's more to like
the story.
The story than what we see. So we can't be quick to judge. You know. It's important for the exchange both ways. It's important, and I think that's also the other thing is like I'm really glad to see a lot of my friends here in the U.S. willing to go out and also invite the friends that they meet out here too, because it's important we see both sides. Because I think a lot of people see is like, oh, we're gonna travel and go there, and it's like no, like allow them to come here and see who you are too, because I don't think like proper like conversation and discord can happen unless we all see both sides. Because if we're constantly seeing what's out there and what's on that side,
it's always going to be an outward experience versus them also understanding like how, especially people of color and minorities, like experience life and why it's so important that we make those connections there as well.
Correct. No, I agree because same thing like when I was putting together this tour, you know, a lot of people in Boston, like when they think of North Carolina, they're like, oh, it's just like a whole bunch of
country.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing to do out there. All they do is listen to like slow music and slow jams. Like there's no there's like no reggae. There's no like nothing down here.
It's
like
hard to find.
It is hard to find.
I'm not even gonna lie about that.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is like from that standpoint, it's like you get all these stereotypes of like where someone lives, and they automatically associate like there's nothing to do down there.
Yeah.
Like it's not like Boston, it's not like a city. Like you get all these stereotypes where you know we create because I live here. You know I have been graceful enough to be able to go and explore and you know meet different venues and talk to multiple business owners. And as far as the tour goes, a lot of pretty much all the venues that we're using are Black owned.
Word.
So you know, within that scope, we are giving them the opportunity to see like, hey, there's reggae down here. Like you know, Feritage, one of the biggest reggae places that we do for our first Fridays, and every first Friday of the month. Yesterday we just had our event. You know, we play Afrobeats, reggae, hip hop, and people like, oh, like when they see me on Snapchat, they're like, y'all got reggae down there? like I'm like, yeah, we got reggae down there.
Wow.
And then, so it's just one of those things like people, they only know what they know until they actually come.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much the purpose behind the tour. We want to give them the opportunity so that they can see like, hey, you can be somewhere else and still have as much fun and enjoy the same things that you enjoy where you are.
Yeah.
So
you can't expect it to be the same experience. I think that's what people do is they connect this experience that they have that they're used to. And I noticed that we were doing that when we were traveling last year and going to different cities. So we were expecting this like, I don't know. We had our
we had too high of expectations for the places we went. That was our problem.
Okay, yeah, because it was like, oh, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, but we were expecting this experience, and then when we got there, we were kind of disappointed and underwhelmed. Yeah. But if we would have gone there with no expectations and just like, okay, this is gonna be a new experience. This is a different city. They do things differently. Yeah. I think we'd have had a better time. But like I think people.
And we were also thinking like in our future budgets range.
Right,
we're gonna be on yachts. Knowing good and well we can only afford a sailboat.
A canoe.
A canoe. Kayaking. No paddle boats. Yeah, we tried it.
It's okay. I mean, you gotta speak it. You gotta see it.
We
made it
now.
there. That was like a
We spoke our intern into
our intern's here.
But okay, so there's been a huge surge in Black travel here, or like at least it's more visible now. What do you think caused it?
I think Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, I think honestly, I'm not sure if there's. I think Instagram just shed light to stuff that was already kind of happening and like made it popular. Like Travel Nor, really, I feel like they had a huge hand in like this showing us in these great, amazing places and like, okay, I see people like me out there. I can do it too. So I think social media definitely had a huge like play in the surge in Black travel.
Yeah.
And this people, because when you see others like you doing it, it feels a little bit more attainable. Yeah. Like, you know what? I can do it too.
Yeah, most definitely.
I agree. I would say social media definitely is a huge plus. And I think obviously with more of these TV shows and, these podcasts, things like that, people are understanding that there's a lot of opportunity. And then now you have all these different platforms where people can connect with each other and you can just get added to a group and then you're like, oh, like, whoa.
All these new doors have opened.
Like I'm part of like this Cali group and they're like huge, like and they have like over like 2,000 members. So like if I ever go to California, I can just drop in there like, hey, what's the do? And I can literally plan out my whole trip, for that weekend. So like there's like so many different like there's so many different avenues that I think people are now craving it. Like they want to see it, and then now obviously you got people all over Snapchat, Instagram. They're like, this person's always this place. Like, and then now they're just like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of encouraging.
Yeah.
And then when you have friends too that are doing these activities and they're going to other places, then it kind of makes you want to do it as well. Kind of like she said, in regards to like, hey, I see people doing it. It's more attainable, so I want to do it, or at least plan for it, and try to do it. So
yeah. Well, like you're so you're our friend. We consider you our friend.
If not before you
yeah. So am I an associate?
Oh no, but that's what I'm saying. But we're talking specifically about Jules right now. But like,
It's not about
simmer down, sir. Like Wendell was saying, when you have friends who do these things, like we've always wanted to travel. I mean, we're not from here, so we kind of are traveling now. Yeah. But like seeing you travel, and then especially seeing how much you pay to go to these places.
Yeah,
it's
for the
like
low, affordable luxury.
Yeah. So like, what are some of like the travel hacks? Both of you can answer this. Like, what are some of the little hacks that you found to get here? Let me take notes.
Yeah, so definitely. I think, so it all starts with the good flight deal. And so I have a couple of websites that are bookmarked. So the flight deal.
Are you writing these down?
Secret Flying. And then also Scott's Cheap Flights. I just was recently put onto that. And he puts out a lot of good deals as well. So these are platforms that they do like the work of like, really searching for these good deals, and then they publicize it like ASAP. But also I found that most of their deals link back to Momundo, which is a search engine. And I've done like different kind of like exercises to test like if their prices are cheaper, and they are like by like a significant amount sometimes.
Momundo?
Momundo. So it's MOMONDO.
Our intern got it.
Perfect. Yeah, so I like a lot of the great deals that I've found have been like through that platform. And also you want to use a private browser when you search, because like, it's a supply and demand.
The
so
cookies.
The cookies. So the more you're searching for a place, the more the website is like, oh, she really wants to go here. So that's like hiking them up. So that I found that's helpful too. Also, in terms of like paying for this, so you should always sign up for like the frequent mileage programs, because every little bit adds up. And like I felt so proud because I was recently able to book a round trip ticket using my Delta miles.
Word.
So, like that's like $200
awesome.
right there to go back home to New York. So that was really dope. And then also, so I actually have a travel credit card. It's like one of the best ones. It's the Chase Sapphire Reserve.
I heard about that.
And so literally in 2017, I was able to travel to over 7 countries.
Wow.
And using mainly my Chase card. So
we have technical difficulties sometimes.
So I booked over like $2,000 worth of flights using my card. And then also the cards have a lot of perks. Like you could get into all these airport lounges all over the world.
With the card?
Yeah, with the card.
So the card gives you that membership.
Yeah, it gives you the priority pass. So it gives you the
Oh.
priority pass, which is like, girl, I'll be like in there like and then like you save money because airport food is really expensive, and these lounges, they have like good food, snacks, refreshments, and it's
complimentary.
Yeah, because it's included in your priority.
No, that's a fact.
Yeah. The annual fee is a little bit hefty. It's $450, but if you if you're traveling that much, it already pays for itself. So $2,000 worth of flights for like $450, I can take that. And so the priority pass is definitely clutch. And also the they pay for your global entry. Well, they reimburse you, and global entry is a godsend.
So do you have to do global entry every single time you travel, or is it just you can go one time for global entry, kind of like TSA pre-check?
Are you talking about like when you come back into the country? Or?
So there's some people. Well, I know U.S. passports. You can do this. You can And you go through TSA too, where you can do this thing called global entry.
Yeah.
But it's like your pre-check too.
Yeah, it is. Oh, basically, if you have global entry, like basically you have TSA pre-check.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So they reimburse you for your global entry?
Yeah, and global entry, I believe it lasts at least 3 years. It's like, So it's good. Like it was funny when I was coming back into the country from Brazil, the line was super long. So we flew into Fort Lauderdale and we were just like laughing, like, look at that.
Bougie travelers in the That's awesome.
It was funny, but I mean, I've come a long way because I used to be on that line. Never again.
Well, none of your friends like you, neither will be.
Oh, and that's the good thing about the card too. So if you're with someone that has like the priority pass, they have guest passes for free too. So you can also like go with them in the lounge. So you don't have to like leave your friends behind.
Oh wow!
I mean, I would, but
I see you.
So
I'm about to look at these good
it's
snacks.
like, so y'all are gonna be eating at the Carolina Ale House in the airport? That's fine. I'll see you on the plane. Like walking into
It's cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see the different lounges and the different airports because they all have their like own cultural flair and they have like local snacks and stuff.
Same.
So
Peasants
cool.
have never been in. Don't give me access to the
My
lounge.
life has changed since that card.
I'm traveling dressed up.
Okay, so I saw this lady through RDU. She had like a fur jacket. Like I'm pretty sure they were like Hermes boots, like up here. And she was like holding on to her husband's arm, and she was like walking with no carry-on bag. And that's how you know, like you're good. I only travel with carry-on bags. I am not paid to check this bag. And so no carry-on bag. Walking next to her, she's like, I'm like, she was going to the lounge.
For sure, she was going to that lounge.
She didn't have Chase Sapphire. She had Chase Diamonds.
Joe with the plug.
Always. So if you had to say, like, what was the most important reason for people of color to travel, especially from the U.S. and in this climate right now with Donald Trump and his administration, why is it so important for minorities, people of color, or whoever to travel?
I think, like I mentioned earlier, like the importance of visibility. So when we travel, it's like we're seeing, but we're also being seen as people. We're disrupting these stereotypes of like what it is to be American. Like not everyone agrees with Donald Trump. So I think it's important, especially now, because it is really intense, but to show people like, it sounds really bad, but this is what it's really like on the ground, and be able to exchange in that dialogue, and even like to learn about their political climate too. So I think it's just important to continue to like live our lives and not let me not say anything too controversial.
I'm going for it. This is what I'm here for.
It's so frustrating though, but basically, because it's like it's hard when people have these preconceived notions of like
of who you are.
Yeah, just based on like things that he said, and it's just like no, it's not like that. Not everyone agrees with him. I don't understand how he won, but
yeah. What do you think, Wendell?
I think kind of going back again, it's really important because it's about comfort zone. You got to be able to break that, and I think once you take the first trip, even if you don't enjoy it to like the full capability or max that you feel like you should have enjoyed it, you still will get something out of it. And it's important for people to travel, especially millennials and African Americans, because one, like she said, you get the opportunity to see others, and then you also get to network. I'm huge on networking, so I think for me, being able to leave, where I'm at to just go somewhere else, or just take a drive to a whole nother city, just because I want to just explore and see new things, and I'm very outdoorsy. I like to do a lot of things, so zip lining being one of them. So I like to travel to different places that have zip lines and just zip line. So you always end up meeting a group of people that you never know could be like your best friend, a long-term friend down the road, and you share very similar interests and likes. So it's just I think traveling is really, really important.
Yeah.
And you need to.
Yeah. And I think another thing to add for me, and I feel like with millennials in general, we tend to be like go-getters. And I know for me personally, like I'm very type A, I'm extremely organized. And I don't think it's a bad thing because it helps me. I'm able to do a lot and maximize my time that way. But I think it's something to be said to be mindful, and that's something I've been trying to practice, and traveling has helped me with that, to be mindful and live in the moment, because when you travel, you'll have your plan, but 9 times out of 10, like, it's not going to happen. So many things is going to happen, and you're in a foreign environment, so you have to really go with the flow, and it's something good about that. You know, I feel like when we're home, it's hard to do that. You know, it's hard. It's like, no, you're so familiar, so you create these parameters, like, no, this and this has to happen. But when you remove all of that, all you have is like, no, it's just me and this experience. And like, what can I get from this? And like, how can I bounce back if like this doesn't happen? You know? So it's good with problem solving too.
How do you feel about like writing down, like do you keep a journal, a blog of like, you know, what you do and like your experiences all the time?
Wait, did you just say keep a blog?
I know blog, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like, you know, like some people, they got like diaries and stuff.
Like you talking about like a personal journal.
Cause I know some people, they just like, they go and they're like, I gotta write down everything that I just did, like how it worked. Like, how important is that, like, when you're traveling? That's kind of the question I'm trying to get to.
It's the character.
So I think it's really important to jot down, like, your experience because, you know, sometimes we forget about things, and I try to each trip, like, jot down things. Sometimes on some trips I'm better than others, but even if I don't do it during the actual trip, like, as soon as I come back, like, I write the highlights just so I don't remember. But I think it's beautiful. Like, sometimes I'll look at my journals, I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about that, and, like, how it made me feel, you know? Like, yeah, you can post a picture on Instagram with, like, a cool caption or whatnot, but when you journal, the captions are so hard though, y'all. Oh my gosh, captions are hard. So when I journal, it's good. It's a good reflective exercise for me, and I do think it's important because the memory can quickly go away.
I agree. Because when I took my trips, you know, one being to France, it was one of those experiences where I was like, do I write down some of the stuff that like I'm about to do? Like, and then when you get there, it's just like you're taking in so much of a culture that you're just like I need to like capture this like in some way. Like,
a little bit.
So because it's one of those things where you can't just go somewhere, just have a great time and then come back because you know there's so many lessons that you can learn from that trip, and it's important, you know, just to have those in reference because. Like you said, it's just really easy to just forget, you know, one other aspect, like, you know, the cheeses. Like, I wish I wrote down, like, what wines you... Because in France, I had classes on, you know, what wines to drink with certain cheeses and things like that. Yeah. Like, I wish I jotted those things down. Yeah. Because I'm like, hey, you know... I like cheese. I like wine. Like, you know, like I want to know which taste. Like what am I supposed to eat with which one? Yeah. You know, so those type of things. Like, you know, I feel like small little details, things that you know that you might just forget because obviously our brain isn't gonna remember everything. Yeah. Like those are things you should kind of like jot down and try to remember so you can go back to.
That's good. Yeah, because I've been forgetting something I did yesterday.
No facts. And like, in the moment you think you're gonna remember, like I'm gonna remember.
And then 5 minutes later.
5 minutes.
But I know I found out walking backwards helps you remember.
Walking backwards?
Really?
Like retracing your steps? No, actually walking backwards.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's
Wait, so let's say I want to remember something. I just need to start walking backwards.
Yeah, it's always helped me. I don't know why. Like I can retrace my steps, and it takes me like twice the time, and twice the time being 5 minutes versus 2 minutes.
Right.
But like, but like sometimes I don't know if it's like a different part of my brain that's being engaged all of a sudden.
Yeah, it is.
But like as I'm walking backwards, it's almost like I'm walking in reverse in my brain,
Whoa.
and I caught where I left it in my brain.
Wow.
And that's how I see it.
Try it.
That works.
Wow, I'm so excited to see that.
So like sometimes at the office, I would just be like walking backwards. Like, I was
That's funny.
Yeah, it helps. That's
Wow.
So that's my piece of advice.
Yeah.
If you ever need to remember anything, walk backwards. If there was like a key thing, whether it's from planning to booking to being in a place, what is the number one thing people should always do when they're somewhere foreign?
For me, talk to the locals. They know everything. They'll like give you things that's not in the guides, and it may lead to a friendship, like it has many times with me.
Yeah.
Travel guys are good, and locals definitely, because I've been in different countries, Canada, France, and I speak 4 languages. So it's one of those things where I've seen people who don't speak, like they only speak English, and then they get somewhere and they're just like,
Lost.
like, can you give me directions, please?
Yeah.
Like I've seen somebody literally pull out their phone, like on Google, like trying to like
Translate.
like I'm trying to get to this place.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where you kind of want to do your research a little bit ahead of time, and then when you get there, embrace the culture just by going to certain places, just to kind of figure out and talk to the people, like where are the good places.
Yeah. I think mine would be recognize that you're not at home and don't expect people to act like you are.
Yes,
and so like
that's so
from
key.
language to religion to clothing,
Yeah.
just respect the culture you're in and try your hardest to assimilate in a way because and be respectful. I think you take more out of your whole trip if you did that.
Yes, for sure. Like, and I'm just like, that's another thing. Because some travelers are really entitled and they feel like, I just don't understand how you can travel and expect like to have the same experience back home, for that to stay home.
And you stay home.
But being respectful of the culture is so important. When I was in Morocco and the Medina, like it's a Muslim country, so you want to dress conservatively. And it's not to say like they're policing how the way you dress. It's like, no, it's disrespectful to the culture if you like showing your skin.
Yeah.
And I was just so amazed like by like some women who were just wearing like crop tops and like short shorts. And it's like, Morocco gets a bad rep for being aggressive towards women, and not to say that isn't true, but you have to be mindful of what you wear. Not to say that anyone warrants that type of attention, but it's very disrespectful.
That's their culture.
You're going into like a semi like holy space and then like
to wear a crop top and short shorts.
it's not cool. So yeah, definitely look up the culture in advance and like what's appropriate in that.
Also, I'm gonna throw something in there. So, fun fact. What's so funny?
I was looking at Winnie like for her to go. She's like,
No, but you gotta say something.
Well, no, I agree with all. Respect the culture. That's huge. Don't have any expectations about what you're gonna expect or experience, and that's pretty much it. And just be open to like the food.
Yeah,
Oh,
open-mindedness is key.
Yeah, because there was a girl that went to Uganda like on a mission trip, and she was going to be there for 6 months, and she's like a really like picky eater, and my mom was telling her like, you need to eat, like you're not gonna like sit here and be picky, and like the food is like organic, number one, but you have to be open to like different flavors and just like stuff that you're not used to.
Advance your palate.
Yeah, advance your palate. Because then when you go to certain countries, like if we were to go back home and my mom serves you food and you don't eat it, it's disrespectful. So just be open-mindedness, and that's it. Fun fact.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect transition, because I was actually gonna go into food. Well, obviously when you travel, so in France, when I got there, they have McDonald's. So McDonald's is different in France than how it is in the United States. All their products are like the meat is 100% beef. Like everything is organic. So when I got there, I'm like I took a bite and I'm like, what the hell? This ain't the McDonald's I'm used to. Like
the process.
Did y'all put the Big Mac sauce on it?
Like, hold on. And then same thing with that. And then you go into it's not Papa John's, it was Domino's. They had a Domino's in there.
Pizza,
And Domino's pizza there does not taste like Domino's pizza in the United States. Like they use like actual, not like it's like real cheese. and it actually leaves a taste in your mouth. Like it's one of those cheeses. Like
why are you coming for
like,
Domino's right now?
It does evaporate though. Like after
Evaporate in your mouth.
Dude, you ever ate like a piece of cheese and it's just like, why is it so strong? Like,
so
like that's what the
good.
cheese tastes like. And I'm like, and then I was like, maybe it's just this one slice that I had, and I ordered another one, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know, but you get used to it though. So that's the crazy thing. It's like you get used to it at the end of the day, and I love to eat, so I'm a foodie, so I can go anywhere and something smell good, I'm walking in there like, what you talking over there? So,
well, thank you guys so much for joining us and talking about travel. Look so forward to your adventures, Jewel, and your adventures, Wendell, and being a part of both of them.
We're inviting ourselves
on everything.
You guys are already invited.
But so for the Love It or Like the Lit Invasion Tour, I need to say the whole thing. Lit Invasion Tour, Boston Invades, North Carolina. We're gonna be there, so come get lit with us. And what are the dates again, Wendell?
So it's March 23rd to the 25th.
And where can they get all like the package deals, everything?
So pretty much, if you go to loveitolikeit.com, if you're based out of North Carolina, you can get pretty much all your tickets through there. If you're coming from Boston, we actually have a separate page for that. It's called the litinvasiontour.splashstat.com. And you'll find all the itinerary for the entire trip from the time you get here to when you leave. And pretty much all the lists of events that we have. You'll see all the flyers that we have on there for all the different events. And then also if you're someone, because I've had people contact me and they're like, hey, I'm not like a club person. I kind of like more intimate things. And, we have a separate itinerary for that as well. Nice. So if you just want to go out and just really just sightsee, but don't want to be around people, like we have something for you as well. Okay. Pretty much those two places you can go to, and you'll be able to get all the information you need in regards to the tour. Okay.
And Jewel, you already say up your website, but say it one more time.
It's traveljewels.net.
And then we're gonna put both their Instagrams. What's your Instagrams, guys?
It's _traveljewels_.
And then Wendell, you have.
I got two. So,
okay.
So the business one is at Love It or Like It ENT, and then my personal ones, I am Wendell JJ.
Okay. And then I have to see.
Hold on, walk backwards.
And catch my sneeze. Oh gosh. Well, yeah, stay up to date with everything that both of them are doing. And so next up we have
World Recap. It's gonna be short.
It's gonna be really short.
Yeah.
We gotta go. So mine is just like tying into travel. The U.S. Last year had like such an extreme decline in tourism and travel.
I wonder why.
I don't think we know why.
Right. They said that it went from 13.6% to 11.9%, and the drop represents 7.4 million like visits have dropped.
People that have been like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And so like tied into the economy for the U.S. and worldwide, there were over like a couple thousands of people have lost their jobs just because the tourism. That's how they get paid. Nobody's coming, so they're losing jobs. And so now the U.S. travel industry is launching a plan to reverse what they call the Trump slump. That's just really interesting how, like Julie, you were saying when you went to South Africa, people were like, oh, don't go because of this, and this. Yeah. And some of those were not real reasons. Yeah. This is a real reason, and it's a real threat, and it just shows how like your political system, the people in charge of your executive branch can really kind of just decline a whole country. And so that was just a big deal. And I thought that was really interesting because the U.S., I think they've always had an increase in tourism. And so with these immigration cuts that they're trying to do and him still being president, I think a lot more people are projected to lose their jobs. And the industry is going to have a steady decline probably for the next 4 years. Yeah. But keep traveling outside the U.S. though.
Flight deals.
So, yeah, this like processing my trip to South America. So it was my first time in South America, and it was about a 3-week trip. I traveled throughout Brazil, Argentina, and Peru, most of the time in Brazil. And so it's interesting to travel while Black because people react to you, and like you get all sorts of reactions, like from like the celebrity where everyone wants to take a picture of you to like sometimes you may get a 30 stare or two to like, or you just may get a look of admiration, like, oh wow. You'll get some paparazzi from the side, like sneak a picture and like, I see you. But anyway, so in South America, I just really didn't know what to expect. In Brazil, they have a large Afro-Brazilian population, so most people thought we were Brazilian. But so we were in a little town outside. We went to the Iguazu Falls. It's like one of the largest waterfall system in the world. And they have an Argentinian side and a Brazilian side. Oh, wow. And in the Argentinian side, I was expecting like, maybe some different reaction to us, but they were like super friendly and fine. But on the Brazilian side, we had one incident with a taxi driver company. We were trying to work on paying for the taxi with a card, right? So the driver was really old, didn't really understand technology, but then a younger guy came out like to help. We sorted it through. My friend speaks a little Portuguese, so we were able to, communicate. Anyway, we get in the taxi, and then all of a sudden, I hear like a monkey noise, and I'm like, wait, there's no monkeys in this city, like, so, and I look out, and like as the taxi is pulling away, I see the guy laugh, and he was like making monkey noises at us. And I was just so distraught because literally this was at the end of the trip. We didn't have any sort of like negative experience. Like everyone was really receptive to us and whatnot. And so I was just like, I don't understand like what we did to like warrant him. Why does he feel comfortable to do that? Like, it was a simple exchange. Like we weren't hostile at all, but it was like just us being there. He felt like okay to do that. But my friend, she was speaking to her homestay brother because she studied in Portugal. In Brazil. And he said that it's actually illegal and he could have been arrested for doing that because they're really trying to cut down on like racism over there. So I think that's something I want people to know, that if you ever come across that, and if you want to be petty and bring like the law enforcement in, like you're totally valid for doing so. So
colorism is huge within
it really is.
I don't want to say Latin countries.
It is.
Especially Brazil.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think that's everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of places.
But so that was our only experience.
So this is like random. There's this young lady on Love and Hip Hop, Miami. And she's been getting a lot of attention because the same thing happened to her, where somebody was telling her like she said dim down her fro, and when she said she's Afro-Latina, people are like, is it because you have an afro? And it's like, no,
deeper than that.
No, you have African roots, and like you don't ask people when they say they're Afro-American, they're like, well, where's your afro? Like I think some people are just like, it's like cognitive dissonance. They just have decided that they don't want to see these things in parallel. And so colorism within the Black community, a lot of communities is really crazy, to the point where like even in like Africa, people bleach their skin. Like severely.
To the point like you look ashy now.
It's like, where is your melanin?
But I didn't know that at the time though.
And but people are still doing it. And so I'm glad you brought that up. It's a huge thing, and that's an action step you can take, is you're reporting people and
like letting them know that it's not okay, but also being aware of like your presence as a Black person. Like I think it's beautiful, but also be aware that there may be some people who are just not welcoming. But for the most part, everyone was totally welcoming. And like in the same town, our waiter, he like came outside and like waited for us to have a cab. So he was also, so it's like, it was that one little thing. That's why I try not to highlight the negative too much, because there's so much beauty, and sometimes people get so fixated on that one part, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let you ruin my beautiful trip for me. You're just mad because we're about, we have these means, we, super. It was just so weird, like for him to feel like, you have to call us a monkey.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, agreed. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
This has been a lot of fun. I wanted to play something like, you know, but
that made a lot of sense, John. Like international.
Yeah, but the only thing that's coming to mind is Maria.
Oh, Maria, Maria. She remind me of a West Side Story. Growing up in Spanish Harlem.